Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. The 2025 Cannes Film Festival lineup has just been announced, and this is my reaction. Let's start with a film that wasn't announced today, which I thought was going to. The new film starring Jennifer Lawrence from director Lynn Ramsey, Die My Love, which I read in 5 posts yesterday, was expected to be announced today as part of the competition lineup, and it's not here. It's not here. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe it'll be announced like in the days to come. I do think that happens at Cannes sometimes. Some films are announced later. Like I know that happened at Sundance, like here and there. Like there'll be like another announcement 2 weeks later of like 5 additional films. Spike Lee's new movie with Denzel Washington is also not a part of the lineup. And he posted something that said, no, it's going to Cannes. It's happening. So maybe Die My Love will be announced later. I'm not sure. But let's look at the lineup. Obviously, I don't know a lot about some of these movies, but many of these titles I am familiar with, and these directors, and there's always like a sense of excitement when the Cannes Film Festival lineup comes out. Remember, Anora premiered at Cannes last year. The Whirlwind Ride for Anora, my favorite film of 2024, launched at Cannes, winning the Palme d'Or, going on to win 5 Oscars. So sometimes, like, your movie launching at Cannes is a very good thing and can lead to a bunch of awards nominations and wins. Will that happen again this year? Who knows, right? Like maybe. In competition, let's start with Edington from director Ari Aster. I forgot Ari Aster has a movie coming out this year. He is one of my favorites. All 3 of his films have been pretty spectacular. I mean, I had some issues with Beau is Afraid, which also starred Joaquin Phoenix. But like I remember that like the first hour and a half of Beau is Afraid is amazing. And then I had some issues with the second half, but it was still a very good film. But Midsommar and Hereditary were both like right at the top of my top 10 lists for those 2 years, 2018 and 2019. So anything Ari Aster makes, I will be there on day one. And look at this cast, not just Joaquin Phoenix. Emma Stone is in Edington. You have Pedro Pascal, Luke Grimes, Austin Butler. Like, how did I not talk about this movie in my recent, extremely early Oscar predictions for Best Casting? Edington might be a Best Casting nominee based on that cast. I mean, we'll see. But it sounds pretty interesting on IMDb. It says it's about a small-town New Mexico sheriff who has higher aspirations. It's described as a contemporary Western, a dark comedy, horror. Sign me up, baby. Sign me up for Edington. I am so intrigued by this movie. Like, will this be another Ari Aster masterpiece? I mean, I hope so. I always put my faith in him. I think he is such a stunning filmmaker. And I am counting the days till this movie premieres at Cannes and we get those first reactions. Another film I am very excited about that was announced to be in competition is The History of Sound, a new gay romance period drama starring Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor. Yeah, sign me up for that too. It's from the director of Living and Mafi. Mafi was a real underrated gem, I'd say. And so, yeah, I don't know too much about this one, but like gay romance, Paul Mescal, Josh O'Connor. Yeah. Like, I mean, if that movie is just decent, I'll probably like it a lot. Like I'll be like, yes, please, let me see this again. So, I mean, obviously, both of these actors have been doing great work the last couple years. All of Us Strangers, Challengers. I feel like Josh O'Connor is really having a moment right now. He's in the next Knives Out movie, and I think everybody saw his performance in Challengers and said, holy shit, man, this guy is a great actor. Let's put him in all the movies. And for these two to be appearing in a gay romance movie, like set during World War I believe, and with that director who has shown how talented he is in his last couple films, I will definitely be keeping an eye out on the history of sound. Kelly Reichardt has a new movie. The great Kelly Reichardt. Michelle Williams is not the star. Like, I feel like she's the star of almost everything she makes. But, you know, she wasn't in First Cow, so Kelly Reichardt, it's like every other film, I feel like, doesn't feature Michelle Williams. Here's a movie she's done called The Mastermind, which has a glorious cast, really great people in this. John Magaro, Josh O'Connor again. We've got Alana Haim, Gabby Hoffman, who I adore, Hope Davis, and it's set during the Vietnam War. So Kelly Reichardt is a filmmaker. Not everything she makes is amazing, but she has such a singular voice, and like her approach to her films is always interesting. Like even Showing Up, her last movie starring Michelle Williams, I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't think it had a lot of staying power. But her film before that, which was First Cow, right? That film was really great. And with this cast and having it be a period drama and things, like The Mastermind, like that could be something. I've been waiting for Kelly Reichardt to get an Oscar nomination. It's never happened. I thought it was going to happen for First Cow 2020, and it didn't. So, like, I would love for that moment to finally reach Kelly Reichardt in screenplay or something. With this cast and that subject matter and that time period, maybe The Mastermind will finally be Kelly Reichardt's awards moment. Richard Linklater has a new movie premiering at Cannes called Nouvelle Vague, and didn't he just have a movie premiere at Berlin starring Ethan Hawke? Like that man, I mean, like he pumps these movies out so fast. And Nouvelle Vague is about the production of 1959's Breathless, right? That very famous film, Breathless, by Jean-Luc Godard. So, like, Linklater making a film about the making of a movie, I'm in, right? And Linklater does really well with period films, like Everybody Wants Some, that was so good. And I think his new film with Ethan Hawke is also a period drama. So, I mean, how often has that happened? Like, the same filmmaker premieres a movie at a festival early in the year, let's say Sundance or Berlin, and then that same person has another new movie that premieres at Cannes the same year. I feel like that's rare, right? I can't imagine that happens very often. But if it was going to be, you know, any director who could pull it off, Richard Linklater makes sense. Next is The Phoenician Scheme by Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson's latest with an all-star cast. This is a movie we already know the release date of. I think it's like May 30th. It's going to play at Cannes in competition, you know, in the middle of May. And then right after Cannes ends, basically, we will all get to see it. His sensibilities as a filmmaker doesn't always translate to Oscar, right? The Grand Budapest Hotel was the film he made that brought him closest, that got tons of nominations all across the board, like Best Picture. The Phoenician Scheme, like right now, if I had to make a guess, it's not going to be a big awards movie. It'll be more in line with Asteroid City, a film everybody really likes or appreciates, or most people do. And, you know, maybe it's talked about a little bit later in the year, and then nothing really happens with it. I've talked about how The Phoenician Scheme, even if it doesn't show up very much next award season, maybe it could be a play in Best Casting, because the cast is extraordinary. I just made that video about casting, and I thought, could there be a movie that only gets the one Oscar nomination for Best Casting and nothing else? Like it's possible, I think, and if it were to happen for a movie, The Phoenician Scheme makes sense. But what a cast, what a filmmaker. I'm excited that's going to Cannes. I would love to hear great things about The Phoenician Scheme. Sentimental Value. This is definitely a movie I have my eye on that I'm very excited about. This is Joachim Trier's follow-up film to The Worst Person in the World, which was one of the best films easily of 2021. That movie just blew me away. I'm so excited he has something new, and it's got a great cast, including Renate Reinsve, but also Elle Fanning and Stellan Skarsgård. And I don't know too much about the story, what kind of tone it's going to have. I'm assuming there will be similarities to The Worst Person in the World. Maybe there will be fantasy elements. I'm not entirely sure. IMDb says it's an intimate and moving exploration of family, memories, and the reconciliatory power of arts. So that's pretty vague. I don't know what that movie is going to look like. But sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you have to put your faith in a great filmmaker, someone who has proven in previous films that they have a lot of talents. And especially with that cast and getting in at Cannes, I think Sentimental Value might be one of the big awards players for 2025. If it's really great, his film, The Worst Person in the World, I remember when that surprised an original screenplay at the Oscars. That was awesome. One of the best nominations for that year. So Sentimental Value, oh boy, I can't wait to see that one. And then one more movie to talk about in competition that I'm excited to see is Alpha from the director of Titane, which was just a wild movie, right? Also from 2021, same year as The Worst Person in the World, Julie DeCurnau has a new film, Alpha, which it doesn't have a cast I'm familiar with, but the style of her films, I've also seen Raw from 2016, she has a style, man, that really captures your attention. And Titane was such a thrill to watch, was so well done that I will show up for her anywhere, and that she has a new film at Cannes called Alpha. She likes those one-word titles, right? It can't be 2 words. It's got to be 1 word. And if it's anywhere in the league of Titane, Alpha could be one of this year's great films. Okay, and a few other films that caught my attention in other categories. Eleanor the Great by Scarlett Johansson is premiering at Cannes. Scarlett Johansson has never directed a movie, right? Maybe a short film or something. I think this is her feature directorial debut. Eleanor the Great stars June Squibb, who's 95 years old, something like that. She's the star of Eleanor the Great. I've been feeling, since I heard about this project a few weeks ago, because June Squibb was so good in Thelma last year, she didn't quite break in at the Golden Globes or, most of the award ceremonies. It didn't happen for her. I was if she could get another great lead role in a movie very soon, maybe that could be her awards ticket. And Eleanor the Great, just based on that still that's been released, Scarlett Johansson directing it, I have high hopes for that one. Unless it's too comedic in tone or something, maybe it doesn't go anywhere come awards time. But I would love 95-year-old June Squibb to have her moments, which she hasn't really had since Nebraska more than a decade ago. I have high hopes for that one. I hope Scarlett Johansson and June Squibb deliver with Eleanor the Great. You have a new film directed by Harris Dickinson called Urchin, which intrigues me. I don't know too much about that one, but I saw his name pop up and I'm oh, he's a director too? That's cool. I loved his performance in Baby Girl, and he's been really making a name for himself as an actor the last few years, appearing in really interesting projects. He has a really great taste for material. So for him to write and direct a movie, I am intrigued. I will definitely want to see that one. And then out of competition, 2 more films to talk about. The Richest Woman in the World is a new movie starring Isabelle Huppert. Isabelle Huppert is such a dynamite actress. Anytime she has something new, I want to hear more about it. Some of her movies, in the US, they don't really go very far. If it's not a celebrated movie internationally, sometimes we don't get to see everything she does. but that this is premiering out of competition, that she is the lead of this new film, The Richest Woman in the World. I do hope that is something. I hope Isabelle Huppert doesn't just only ever have that one Oscar nomination for Elle. I would love for her to be back in the award scene and Best Actress. That would be great. And Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, pretty much every year at Cannes, you get one giant studio blockbuster movie. And this year it's the latest Mission Impossible film. Is it the final one? Are they promoting this as the final Mission Impossible? Because the last one didn't come up to expectations of the box office and things. I'm getting the sense that this might be the last one. And that will bring people into the theater. If they really promote it, like, Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Like, it's the last one. We're not going to make any others, right? Like, they'll probably make other ones down the road. Tom Cruise is going to be 80 years old, running for minutes on end in the latest Mission Impossible movie, probably. I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited for that. I have never missed a Mission Impossible film. I will be there opening weekend. I can't wait to see what Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise have in store for us in that movie. I guess we'll learn a few days before it opens how good or great or underwhelming or whatever a movie it is. So yeah, those are my initial reactions to the Cannes Film Festival lineup. Obviously, there's a ton more movies I could talk about here. I just don't know enough about them to, say anything of interest. I looked down the list at all the other directors I'm just not that familiar with, but I'll be researching these other movies in the hours and days to come. And if there are other titles I feel like we should be paying attention to, maybe I'll bring them up in the next predictions video and things. And obviously, like those few days at Cannes, I will be reading up on all the films, seeing what is playing really well, what's getting, glowing reviews, like right off of their first screenings and things. Cannes is very important for award season. If your movie can perform there really well, if it can win a big award or 2 or 3, then that film is definitely in the conversation, and I'm going to the 2025 Toronto Film Festival in September, and some of these movies I talked about in this video will likely continue on to Toronto, where I can see it and review it for all of you. So thanks so much for watching this reaction video to the Cannes Film Festival lineup. Let me know in the comments below what movies premiering at Cannes are you most excited to see, and I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.